Experian is a company that provides credit scores in the U.S. The company generates FICO scores, which currently range from 300 to 850. Which of the following absolute value inequalities gives the range of FICO scores? So when we look at a range from 300 to 850 on a number line, we are including the numbers 300 and 850. They would be included in the range, so we're going to represent them with closed circles. And then we would have every number in between. So we would have 301, 849, 500, all of our numbers in between, giving us this graph on our number line, roughly. So now when we look at this on a number line, we see that it is an intersection of two inequalities, creating this compound inequality. And we can relate this compound inequality to an absolute value inequality. Well, when it's an intersection, when our values are in between, this is creating an and compound inequality. And when we have an and compound inequality, we can relate that to a less than absolute value inequality, right? That's our little trick. An and compound is less than, and then since we are including, it would be equal to. So that automatically eliminates choices A and B because the sign in the absolute value inequality is greater than, not less than or equal to, like C and D. Now we just have to focus on our center and our distance with our inequality to choose between C and D. So if we look at our model of our absolute value inequality, we would have that we have the absolute value of x minus c is less than or equal to D, where C is the center between 300 and 850, and D is the distance from the center to either endpoint. So the center we can find by taking the sum of our two endpoints. So we would have 300 plus 850. And we would find their average. So we would divide by 2. So 300 plus 850 is 1,150 divided by 2. So 1,150 divided by 2 gives us a center of 575. Now we need our distance. So our distance is going to be the distance, the difference, it would be the absolute value of the difference between our two endpoints. So we'll have the absolute value of 850 minus 300 divided by 2. Give a little more room. So the absolute value of 850 minus 300 is the absolute value of 550 divided by 2, which the absolute value of 550 is just 550. So we have 550 divided by 2, which will give us a distance of 275. So now putting in our model, we have the absolute value of x minus c. Well, we found c was 575. So the absolute value of x minus 575, we already know our sign should be less than or equal to from the fact that it's an and compound inequality. And our distance we now have is 275. So if our model is the absolute value of x minus 575 is less than or equal to 275, that makes our answer choice C.